On Halloween night, a boy named Alex is in his apartment while his parents talk worriedly about the panic attacks he has been having. Right at that moment, Alex has another attack, so he starts stuffing all his notebooks and drawings into a backpack, determined to destroy everything he has created. Without telling anyone, he sneaks out of the apartment and steps into the elevator. But something strange happens. The cabin begins to shake and stops on a completely dark floor. Even though he is terrified, Alex steps out into the hallway, and his worry grows when the elevator doors close behind him. Suddenly, he hears a voice. Following it, he reaches a half-open door. Inside, a television is on, showing what looks like a horror movie. Without realizing it, something affects him, almost like a spell. His eyes begin to glow and, as if he cannot resist it, he walks inside. Near the television, he sees a cake sitting on a table. Without thinking much about it, he starts eating it. But that turns out to be a mistake, because a few seconds later he loses consciousness. Meanwhile, the apartment door slowly closes on its own. Sometime later, Alex wakes up in a strange room. Confused, he begins exploring, searching for a way to escape. He finds a window and, in desperation, decides to jump. But the moment he does, he is suddenly transported back to the same place, bursting out of a closet. At that moment, a dark figure begins circling around him. Alex panics. The creature asks for his name. When he answers, she reveals herself. She makes something clear from the very beginning. If he does not prove useful, she will eliminate him. She also shows him the clothes inside the closet, explaining that they belonged to other children who failed to meet her expectations. Trying to save himself, Alex tells her that he knows how to write horror stories and that he keeps them in special notebooks he only uses at night. This catches the witch's attention. She checks his stories and decides they will be useful. Then she gives him a rule. Every night he must tell her a new horror story. And if he fails even once, he will die. After that, the witch leaves and Alex tries to rest. But it does not take long before something even stranger happens. The toys in the room begin moving on their own. Frightened, he hides by closing some small doors beside the bed and stays completely silent. When everything finally calms down, he decides to go out and explore. On the way, he runs into a cat, which at first gives him some relief. But that quickly changes. The animal suddenly attacks him, and to make things worse, it turns invisible, striking him by surprise and knocking him to the floor. In the middle of the chaos, Alex notices that the bedroom door is open, so he takes the chance to escape into the apartment. That is when he runs into Yasmin, another girl who is also trapped by the witch. Even though Alex is confused, Yasmin acts as if everything is normal and continues with what she is doing. Then she explains that they are allowed to eat the food in the place, as long as they do not touch certain forbidden cabinets. She also tells him that they are being watched all the time by Lenore, the witch's cat, who works as a kind of spy. And that is not all. The apartment they are in is not normal at all, but a magical dimension that travels through different cities around the world looking for new victims. After that, Yasmin takes Alex to a huge library. He gets excited when he sees so many books, but she makes something important clear. The witch already knows all of those stories. That is why she needs someone to create new ones. And that is where Alex comes in. Yasmin makes it clear that if he doesn't come up with new stories, both of them could die, or something worse. But Alex, frustrated by everything that is happening, refuses. He says he is not going to play that game, and that instead, he will find a way to escape. Later, Alex tries to take advantage of a moment of distraction to escape. He waits until Natasha appears and runs toward the door where he saw her enter. But just when he is about to make it, the exit suddenly turns into a solid wall, causing him to slam straight into it. Natasha finds him lying on the floor and takes him to the living room. There, using one of her potions, she orders him to start telling his story. With very few options, Alex begins narrating a tale called The Playground. The story is about a haunted park in a small town where, according to the rumors, several children have disappeared. It is said that every night their spirits return to play, and if they manage to keep someone there until sunrise, that person becomes trapped there forever. One day, A boy named Todd goes to that place looking for his friend Jenny, who had disappeared some time earlier. But everything goes wrong when the spirits catch him and force him to play with them for hours, becoming more and more dangerous. Realizing that he will not make it out alive if he stays, Todd tries to escape. As he runs, he sees that the sun is about to rise. Just when he is about to make it, one of the spirits pushes him, and it turns out to be Jenny. Her spirit helps him get out, preventing him from becoming trapped like the others. Before disappearing, she tells him that she will always be with him because true friends are never forgotten. But Natasha does not like that ending at all. Furious, she lifts Alex into the air and demands that he never write a horror story with a happy ending again. Desperate, the boy changes the ending, saying that Todd returned to the park and that the spirits finished him off. That satisfies the witch. Now calmer, she takes Alex's notebook to check his other stories. But when she notices that there are no recent ones, she begins to question him. Alex explains that he has not been able to write properly because he feels like he is being watched all the time. When Natasha hears that, she decides to punish Yasmin and Lenore. But Alex immediately intervenes and takes all the blame. Tired, the witch simply goes back to her room and Yasmin does the same. Later, when Alex tries to apologize, Yasmin tells him to stop being so optimistic because in that place, that does not help much. The next morning, Alex tries to write another story, but something catches his attention: the top floor of the library. Curious, he decides to go upstairs. Up there, he finds even older shelves filled with very well-known classic stories. But the most interesting thing is something else. Inside some of the books, there are handwritten notes. When Alex reads them, he realizes that the former prisoners used those books as diaries to record what they were going through. As the days pass, Alex keeps writing new stories in order to survive. But Natasha is never satisfied. She always finds some mistake and never misses a chance to humiliate him. Even so, he keeps trying. One day, Yasmin takes him to Natasha's magical greenhouse. There, she explains that she urgently needs help. Strange eggs from creatures called shredders have appeared on the walls, and if they hatch, they could destroy all the plants. Knowing that would cause them serious trouble, Alex agrees to help. He quickly starts smashing the eggs before they can hatch. Everything seems to be going well, until Yasmin, while trying to reach a higher one, slips and accidentally sends one of the eggs flying. Alex tries to stop it, but it is already too late. The egg breaks open, and a furious shredder jumps out and charges straight at them. Alex tries to trap it with a bucket, but the creature escapes and crashes into other eggs, releasing even more of them. The situation quickly turns into chaos. Without thinking twice, both of them start stomping on the remaining eggs, trying to prevent more monsters from being born, barely managing to bring the situation under control. Shortly after, Alex and Yasmin grab whatever they can find and use it as improvised weapons. Determined to solve the problem, they move deeper into the greenhouse in search of the shredder that is still loose. But the creature begins destroying everything, leaving the place almost completely dark. Suddenly, the monster attacks Alex. He manages to kick it away, but then loses sight of it. While they try to locate it again, Yasmin approaches one of the pods. And that is when the creature surprises her, jumping straight at her face and trying to pierce through her glasses. Panicking, Yasmin grabs it and throws it against a huge spider web. The shredder gets stuck in the web, and at that exact moment, Lenore jumps in to finish it off. With that, the creature becomes completely immobilized, and Yasmin takes the chance to run, shouting at Alex to do the same. But Alex does not leave. When he notices that Lenore also got trapped in the web, he runs back and, before the monster can react, destroys it with a single blow from a shovel. Then he frees the cat from the web, and the two of them rush out of the greenhouse. What they do not realize is that one of the eggs remained hidden behind a flower pot, just about to hatch. As soon as they step outside, Natasha uses her magic to lift them into the air and carry them to the living room. She is furious about the disaster in the greenhouse and begins to punish Yasmin. But Alex intervenes once again, saying that everything was his fault. Before the situation can get worse, the witch drops them and leaves. After that, Yasmin makes something very clear to him. If they want to survive, they need to stop being friends. Because every time they help each other, they end up getting into even more trouble. Hours later, back in his room, Alex is attacked by another shredder. He manages to trap it inside a container and is about to crush it, but the creature escapes and fights back. Annoyed, Alex loses his patience and smashes it to pieces with one of his books. When everything is over, he realizes something even worse. The monster had crawled into his backpack and destroyed all the pages of his notebooks. The next day, Yasmin applies a homemade ointment to heal his wounds. Then Alex calls Lenore over to do the same for the cat. Even though Yasmin notices that he is starting to grow fond of the animal, she does not show the slightest interest. When she hears about the attack from the previous night, she tells him that he needs to write a new story as soon as possible. But Alex, frustrated, replies that he has run out of ideas and that they should try to escape that very night. Yasmin quickly crushes that hope. The only exit has a key, and Natasha has it. With no good options left, Alex says he would rather let the witch eliminate him. But Yasmin reveals something unsettling. Natasha usually does not eliminate her victims. To prove it, she takes him to a shelf filled with wax figures. Those figures used to be other children. Over time, they were all turned into that, and Yasmin was the only one who managed to survive. She even lost her best friend when they tried to escape. At that moment, Alex notices something important. The wax figures have characteristics that match descriptions he saw in the books on the upper floor. So he decides to investigate further. The two of them return to the library and start searching through the books. There they discover notes written by someone known as the Unicorn Girl, who claimed she had found a way to escape. They quickly check the shelf of figures again and realize something crucial. None of the wax figures match that girl. That can only mean one thing. She made it out. With a new sense of hope, Alex and Yasmin split up to search for more clues in the books. In one of them, Alex finds a hidden recipe at the end of the story of Hansel and Gretel. It is a sleeping potion, but it has a problem. Its smell is far too strong. For it to work, they need a special ingredient that can hide that odor. And to figure out what it is, Alex decides to do what he does best, create a new horror story, a very specific one, which he calls the tail herb. When the time comes, Alex and Yasmin meet Natasha in the living room, and without wasting any time, the boy begins telling a new story. He talks about a powerful wizard who controlled a giant monster that lived in the forest. To become rich, he forced children to climb into the creature's mouth and pull out precious gems, while he kept the monster asleep with a potion. The problem was that the potion had a terrible smell. To hide it, the wizard used a special plant, the tail herb, the only thing capable of covering such a strong odor. But one day, all of that plant rots and disappears. Without a way to keep controlling the monster, the sorcerer decides to kill it. Just then, a peasant woman appears and offers him an alternative. She claims to have a substance capable of replacing the tail herb in exchange for a few precious gems. The wizard accepts. He mixes the new substance with the potion, and it works perfectly. The smell disappears completely, but the moment he gives the potion to the monster, the creature wakes up and devours him right in front of the peasant woman, who watches everything with complete calm. Alex then reveals that the young woman was seeking revenge since she had lost her little brother because of the wizard. And just when it seems like the story might end differently, he remembers something important. Natasha does not like happy endings, so he changes the ending on the spot. When the peasant woman returns home, the monster suddenly appears and crushes her. Even so, something still does not sit right with Natasha. Annoyed, she corrects him directly. The plant that actually works to hide the smell of a potion is not the tail herb. It is Rudinella. And with that, without realizing it, she gives them the information they needed. Alex and Yasmin pretend to apologize for the mistake, but now they know their next step. The next day, they go to the greenhouse and, using laboratory equipment, prepare a sleeping potion with Rudinella. Hours later, everything continues as usual. They prepare Natasha's dinner. When the moment comes, they pour the potion into her lemonade, but something goes wrong. the liquid changes color. Both of them panic. As if that were not enough, Lenore appears and turns invisible again. While Alex tries to fix the problem with the color, Yasmin brings the food to Natasha so she will not suspect anything. When she returns to the kitchen, she asks Alex why he is taking so long, and he tells her that the bottle with the potion has disappeared. Now the fear is real. Natasha may have already discovered everything. Trying to improvise, Alex attempts to come up with a story on the spot since he did not have time to write anything. But Natasha, tired of waiting, checks his notebook and confirms the worst. There is no story. Furious, she corners them and prepares to eliminate them. But just when everything seems lost, Natasha suddenly collapses to the floor. Confused, Alex and Yasmin move closer. And then Lenore appears, staggering. That is when they understand everything. The cat used her invisibility to tamper with the potion Natasha drinks before listening to the stories. And that is what made her lose consciousness. The problem is that the effort also weakened Lenore. At that moment, Alex realizes something important. Lenore is not his enemy. She is also trapped in all of this. So he makes a decision. They are going to escape. And this time, they are not leaving alone. Carefully, he hides Lenore inside his backpack, determined to get all of them out of that place. Without wasting time, Alex and Yasmin grab the key and run toward the exit. When they cross it, they see a light at the end of the forest and, for a moment, they believe they are finally free. But the illusion does not last long. As they move forward, Yasmin notices something strange about the trees. They have odd mushrooms attached to them. And when she scrapes a bit of the bark away, the same wallpaper from the apartment appears underneath. That is when they realize the truth. They are still trapped. Suddenly, a huge magical unicorn appears in front of them. Panicking, they run through the forest to avoid being attacked. After a while, the creature simply stops and disappears. Confused, they look around and discover that the place is filled with unsettling dolls everywhere. Following the path, they arrive at a house made of candy, just like in the story of Hansel and Gretel. The smell surrounds them, and unable to resist it, they start eating non-stop, almost as if they were hypnotized. Sometime later, Alex wakes up alone inside the house. When he sees a staircase, he decides to go down, and when he reaches the basement, he comes face to face with Natasha. There he discovers something shocking. Yasmin and Lenore are locked inside a cell. And not only that, Natasha shows him a coffin containing the witch's real body. She explains that the potions she had been drinking were necessary to keep her magic active. Confused, Alex asks her why she does all of this. And Natasha reveals the truth. She was once a child trapped by the witch as well. She managed to escape, but when she returned home, her parents were gone. With nothing left to return to, she decided to come back and take the witch's place. At that moment, Alex understands everything. Natasha is the unicorn girl. Suddenly, everything begins to shake. Natasha explains that the witch needs stories in order to stay asleep. That is why she forced Alex to tell them. Desperate when she realizes he does not have a story ready, she demands that he tell the truth, why he wanted to burn his notebooks. With no other choice, Alex begins to speak. He explains that on his birthday, his parents decorated the house with a horror theme to make him happy. But when he went to invite his best friend, Josh, he realized that everyone at school had been avoiding him. No one wanted to be near him. When he finally spoke with Josh, his friend told him that they could not be friends anymore because Alex was the weird kid in class. That completely broke him. That is why he decided to burn his stories, to try to become someone normal and finally fit in. When he finishes, the witch falls asleep again and Natasha even applauds. But Alex does not stop. He continues speaking. He says that despite everything, being trapped there turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to him, because he found new friends and learned to accept himself just the way he is. That changes everything. Natasha panics and runs to the coffin, which begins to crack. The tremors return even stronger, and in the middle of the chaos, the cell breaks apart. Yasmin and Lenore manage to escape and run to Alex, but before they can get away, an explosion knocks them to the ground. When they get up, they see the witch rising from the coffin. Determined, Natasha confronts the witch, declaring that she is no longer the weak girl she used to be. While the two of them begin to fight, Alex, Yasmin, and Lenore take the chance to run, but the place continues collapsing. And during the battle, Natasha becomes trapped under the falling debris. With no time to waste, Yasmin drinks one of Natasha's potions and gains magical powers for a brief moment. Using that power, she manages to open an exit door. The three of them run through it and finally return to the building. Once they are back, Lenore runs ahead and Alex pulls Yasmin toward the elevator, saying that he has a plan. But just when it seems like everything is over, the witch appears again, emerging from the top of the elevator and attacking them. The elevator descends all the way to the basement, and Alex says they need to reach the boiler room. They run down the hallway, but the witch catches up with them and lifts them into the air. At that moment, Lenore appears and attacks, giving them a chance to break free. Furious, the witch throws the cat aside and prepares to finish Yasmin. But Alex has one last idea. He pulls out his notebook and pretends to read a new story. The witch, obsessed, focuses all her attention on him. Then, when they are close enough to the boiler, Alex throws the notebook into the fire. Desperate to save the story, the witch jumps after it. That is the moment. Alex and Yasmin push her, trapping her inside as the flames consume her. Now, it is finally over. The three of them manage to escape from the basement, and when Alex sees his parents again, they hug him, unable to believe it. From that day on, Alex and Yasmin return to a normal life, together with Lenore, and Alex starts writing again. But this time, he does it proudly, accepting who he truly is. However, somewhere in the darkness, Natasha watches the wax figures in silence, making it clear that the story is not over yet. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what you think about this movie.